Hello and welcome, friends, to the Bradford National Bank Podcast Studio here in beautiful downtown Highland, Illinois. This is the Highland Dirt Podcast. Let's frickin' go. I'm your host, Kurt Vonder. Haar. How is everybody tonight? You doing all right? I'm doing fantastic. We are just 3 days away from cars on the track at world famous Highland Speedway. Hello to all of our friends watching out there on social media via Facebook, YouTube, and X. And hey, if you have a question during the podcast, make sure you put it in the comments section below, and we'll do our best to get to them. We've got a great show for you tonight. Joining me shortly on the podcast as my co-host will be our new director of competition, Chance Bailey. And tonight we have not one but two special guests, father-son drivers Cole and Billy Knebel. Well, as always, the Highland Dirt Podcast is brought to you by the Jansen Auto Group. Hundreds of vehicles are available right now at gojansen.com. With Jansen Ford a Breeze, Jansen Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Carmi, and Jansen Chevrolet in Germantown, they have just the vehicle you're looking for. You can search their entire inventory at gojansen.com. That's gojansen.com. Jansen Auto Group is proud to support local dirt track racing and world famous Highland Speedway. Well, real quick, what is the Highland Dirt Podcast? The Highland Dirt Podcast features dirt racing talk, plus news, information, and interviews from some of your favorite people and personalities in and around world famous Highland Speedway. What is Highland Speedway, you might ask? Highland Speedway is a quarter-mile bullring-style dirt track. We're located in Highland, Illinois, about 30 minutes east of St. Louis, Missouri. We've been racing on the dirt on Saturday nights since 1962. We race super late models, modifieds, pro mods, street stocks under the dirt car banner, plus micro sprints, 410 wing sprints, extreme outlaw series, 4 cylinders, vintage, kids mods, all in a covered facility with seating for 3,000, soon to be 4,000, located on the beautiful Madison County Fairgrounds. Did you get all that? Did you take notes? Well, now that maybe you know a little bit more about the podcast, you got a brief history lesson on Highland Speedway. Let me introduce my co-host for tonight. He's our new director of competition at Highland Speedway. He's a driver. He was formerly the assistant director of competition at Adams County Speedway up in Quincy, and he'll be here on Saturday night at Highland running the show. It's Chance Bailey. What's up, Chance?
Hi, Kurt. How are you? I'm good. I just got back from a long trip over to pick up some racing parts.
Oh, man. Well, I've the last couple days after work, I went out to the track. I've been putting signs up, getting things shined up and ready for Saturday night. Are you excited?
I am very excited. It's been a long time coming, but it feels like this week has been so short. At my normal job, I haven't even been able to get much done. I've been working on getting everything ready for Saturday night, trying to get everything squared away. There's just so much behind the scenes that goes on that nobody sees, like you talk about going hanging up signs. Obviously you don't do that every week, but there's a lot more weeks than not that you are doing that. So, and yeah, Facebook post.
A lot of those details. It's been 180 days since we had racing, since September 16th, when the Extreme Outlaw Series was at Highland. So people are chomping at the bit to get to the Speedway. But yeah, you're right. They don't see some of that stuff from behind the scenes, right? They don't see. Well, actually, they did see, because I went TikTok live last night, and I think the night before. I'm out there washing signs. I'm putting up signs. I had 160 people watching me put up signs last night, Chance. Isn't that exciting?
That is pretty exciting. As you can see, I was not one of them. So, unfortunately, I can't catch all of them. But
well, let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the dirt racing world. So, the dirt racing world has been pretty quiet. Until the last couple days, right?
Yeah, up until the last couple of days, you hadn't heard much out of anybody, besides maybe a few series commitments here and there down south and the Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series. But yeah, it all kind of blew up yesterday with the whole tire scandal. And
yeah,
Brian Carter's. Go ahead.
So the news, out of World of Outlaws, the World of Outlaws, I'll just read the official statement. World of Outlaws have issued a suspension and fine to late model driver Bobby Pierce for failing the tire test after competing in the World of Outlaws late model event on February 16th, 2024 at Volusia. Also suspended is Kyle Bronson and Devin Moran. So the suspension is whatever is last of 30 days and 4 events. Now, what that means, I think, is that it's going to be more than 30 days because he has to go 4 World of Outlaws events. So that could end up being 45 days? Could end up being longer. But I don't know. Is that penalty going to be retroactive? I don't know. Maybe there's some room there? Is there an appeal? I don't know what's going on there.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know exactly what all the suspension entails. I do know it is all World Racing Group events, so that is I feel like quite a blow. That's a lot more events than what you actually think about. There's a lot of events that run under their banner. Yeah. So
and he can't race anything dirt car, right? So anything under the WRG banner, they're suspended from. So that includes anything dirt car. So even a weekly dirt car track like our track, they wouldn't be able to race there. But we've also seen. Did you see Bobby's response?
I did see that. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's so hard telling. I wouldn't say loyalty is a thing that is hard to find these days, but honesty sure as heck is. I'm not going to point out like any specific driver, any specific organization, but it's hard to believe anything you see nowadays, especially besides like definitive facts. And all we know is that a tire came back bad. And obviously there are rules set in place for a reason. And once that happens, you got to follow them. So.
And some of the details of the testing, I just watched Kenny Wallace did an interview with Brian Carter. I think actually you might have sent me that. So I watched that before the podcast. They tested 67 tires across all classes, some qualifying tires, some heat race tires, some feature tires. So they were pulling tires from all over the place. And out of those 67 tires, 3 came back bad samples. And actually they said that one of them was a qualifying tire that came back. So I thought that was interesting. And some of the other details, of that Brian Carter, Kenny Wallace interview, Brian Carter claims they've tried to trick Blue Ridge Labs before by sending them tires that they've doped up or not doped up and said they were doped.
I thought that was interesting as well. And he touched on the fact of, sorry.
Oh, you went quiet there for a second. But yeah, so sorry. Brian Carter, like you said, he claims that, you're okay. So yeah, at the Sunshine Nationals, this was also, I thought, kind of funny. I think they kind of knew something was up at the Sunshine Nationals because down in Volusia, because Brian Carter apparently came to one of the drivers' meetings, got up in front of the drivers, and he told them basically to F around and find out. And he said word for word, that's what he said. So I think he was pretty fired up. He seems to want to weed out this problem in the sport. And I thought another interesting, and tell me what you think about this, there was a vendor selling this tire dope at the Gateway Dirt Nationals. Did you catch that?
I did, and I don't understand honestly. I mean, I get everyone's a businessman. Cody's a businessman, and there's a reason behind everything, but to openly display that at an event, knowing it is against the rules, and obviously it's Cody's event, so it's whatever he wants to do. But that is something I don't think the dirt racing world was ready for, as far as big cars. You see it in go-kart racing, but you don't see it in stock car racing on camera, in front of your face, in front of the fans' face. That's a behind the scenes thing that racers do to try to be fast but not get caught. And obviously
pretty bold of a vendor to have a booth at Gateway Dirt National selling it, though, isn't it?
Yeah, especially to put your name behind it and everything of that nature. People are going to be there. The biggest names in motorsports are going to be there. So obviously Brian probably got his hands on it at some point.
Yep. So Bobby Pierce gets knocked from first to 23rd in points, 288 points out of first place, and basically knocks him out of contention probably for this. And as a result, he said that he's not going to run a full World of Outlaws tour.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if you got to think of his point of view, they're coming at, if he doesn't think he did anything wrong, and that's on him. That's Jason Fager said it best. That's taking $200,000 right out of his pocket without any control. So, and how do you play that into it? He was probably the favorite to win the World of Outlaws tour this year. So, without 4-race suspension, it kind of takes that off the table. Whereas in anything else you get DQ'd for in motorsports, you lose your points for that race and that's it. That's the end of it. It's not a name changer, so to speak.
Yep. So that was big time when we've been texting back and forth about this in the last couple of days. So big time in the news, and then today some more nuggets dropped on us. The rumor mill is churning. So Chance, I said, is Hudson O'Neal out of the Rocket One car? What did you hear about that?
So obviously rumors are just rumors. Nothing's confirmed until you see an official statement from Rocket One or Hudson himself. But obviously, a few people think they know something, and I think Roger Sellers and Hudson O'Neal definitely have a relationship that's worth building. And I'm not going to say I think it were to go back that way, but if he were to leave the Rocket One team, I would find it hard for him to land anywhere else, if that makes any sense. But also on the flip hand, you just came off of what some would consider a lucky Lucas Oil championship run, but I mean, it's a Lucas Oil championship run nonetheless. Nobody's going to forget that anytime soon.
So what you think, basically O'Neal back to, what is it, the double down car? Is that what you think?
Yeah, double down. That would be my guess if this Rocket One thing turns out to be true, which on the other rumor mill, we're supposed to have a press release possibly before the end of the night. So that would, if it were a thing. So I think if we get to the end of the night and there's no press release, I think Hudson's still in that Rocket One car.
Yep. Well, let's move on. We got some stuff going on in our area. We're getting ready for opening night on Saturday night. So how do you feel about kicking off the 2024 season?
I'm excited. I'm super excited. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine last year that I was going to be sitting in these shoes and having this opportunity this year to run it every given night at Highland Speedway. I'd never been to Highland Speedway before this past year, so I'm nervous, but it's definitely exciting.
Well, what are some of your goals for your first season as director of competition?
Obviously, our big number one, Sean has kind of touched on a lot on our podcast here, I feel like, but we want to get done in a timely manner. We want the kids to be in the pits. We want everyone's attention spans to not be completely shattered at the end of the night. We want people to still be alive, drinking beer by the end of the races, and be able to go and hang out and meet drivers, meet other fans, and have a good time. So, and you don't get those things whenever we're getting done at 11 o'clock midnight. And it just makes for a long night all around. I promise you, we don't get much rest whenever we're trying to officiate races, let alone trying to race.
So as the drivers, we have put out to the drivers the order of events. We'll be putting that out to the public soon, but we are starting half an hour earlier, and you've kind of made some changes to the number of laps for the features too, right?
Yeah. So I cut. We started off by looking at, obviously, like the prices of late model tires, price of late model motors, stuff like that. We want the best show for our fans in a reasonable expense for our drivers. So that's kind of where the 5 laps came from, taking off the end of the late model feature. There's still an end of the feature. You're not seeing the last 5 laps going away or anything like that. So I think everyone loves a good sprint instead of just a jog to the finish line, in my opinion. So I think that'll help out with some time. Obviously, we cut some laps off most features. I think we added 2 or 3 laps to the street stock feature, but that was it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
So some slight adjustments to the program. Again, we'll be putting that out to the public before the races. We always put out the order of events. But yeah, we're going to work on getting done earlier and just, moving the program along. And that's why we have Chance on the team now. Well, Chance, let's go ahead and bring on our guests for the podcast tonight. What do you say?
Let's do it.
So we have 2 of them. They are father-son. So Dad, Billy Knebel, he was the 2013 Pro Modified champ at Highland Speedway. And there on the left, son Cole won his first track championship last year, also in the Pro Modified division, along with 6 feature wins. So it's the driver of the 52 JR on the left, the 52 on the right. Please welcome Cole and Billy Knebel. What's up, guys?
What's happening? Hey, how's it going?
So we had a little test. I noticed, man, you guys have already worked on the background there. Man, you got a door panel thrown up. You got the KRT logo there at the bottom. You guys threw that together pretty quick.
Yeah, we figured we'd make it look representable. Got to keep mama happy.
Well, all right,
And
Cole. Well, let's first hear about your track championship last season. It was your first one. You won it at 19 years old. So 19 years old. I'm trying to think what I was doing at 19. It was not winning track championships at a track. So when is your birthday? When did you turn 19, or when do you turn 20?
I just turned 20 about a month ago. My birthday is February 1st, 2004.
Okay. And where'd you go to high school? What year did you graduate?
Greenville. I guess I graduated. I think it was 22. I graduated early, actually.
Fellow Greenville Comet. Let's go. Let's go. And look, the Greenville Comets are dressed the same tonight. Should we give a shout out to the B Main boys? So shout out to the B Main boys. They're going to be popping off in the comments here. So
jumping starts and breaking hearts.
That's right. That's right. So at one point you won 3 features in a row last season. So maybe what and who were the keys to your success?
Well, obviously my dad, he's taught me a bunch over the years, and my cousin Drew's always over here helping me, and my buddy Garrett, and guys are always a lot of people helping me down in the pits. My girlfriend's always there, and just everybody helping. Guy can't do it by himself. You got to have a hand when a hand's needed, and a lot of hard work is what it takes.
And what do you call your group? What's your group there at the Speedway called? What's your nickname?
We're out of the Knebel stable. I know that. But
didn't you? So yeah, I'm sure talk about what you guys are doing though to prep during the week. What's your race program look like during the week?
So we always wash Sunday. Get the car out, wash the car, wash all the tires, get her on a lift, just get her put away for the week, get all the tires washed. Then usually Monday, Tuesday range, if praying we didn't break anything, get sheet metal beat out or fix anything that's wrong with it. Maybe if we're ahead of the game, nothing got tore up, maybe just set her down on the scales and check things out. Just make sure the numbers are right. Check your caster and camber and toe and nut and bolt and grease. Grind. I like to grind tires and resipe them if needed and wrap them. So that way they're all ready to rock in the trailer. So, it takes a good chunk of your week, just getting all that preparation, preparation's key. If you ain't working that car over, it ain't going to work for you.
So how many hours would you say that you're spending on prep work on the car?
Saying nothing gets broke. Nothing gets bent or broke. Let's just say didn't touch nothing but clean air. Probably 3 or 4 hours to 3 hours to wash and unload Sunday. I'm going to say probably
On a good week, 10 hours.
Yeah, probably 10 hours. That's what I'm going to say.
Tear something
Yep.
up, 20, 30, 40. Depends on how bad you tore it up. I mean,
And if you got 2 cars, that's times 2, right?
yeah. Yeah. Like I always told Cole, I said, if you want to race, you're married to it. It's a full-time job.
Well, Dad, Billy, tell us about seeing Cole win for the first time. If I remember, did you barely make it to the track that night?
So can't remember the first night. We barely made it in, and I think he ran. I don't think he won that night. I think he spun out. We just got there.
Yeah, bring that up.
Yeah. But
Dad's always got to bring that up.
But I took a picture.
Yeah,
I took a picture of the two of you, right after Cole's first win last season. And I mean, the look on your face. I mean, it was a proud papa moment. I've got a son that's 18, close to Cole's age, and his name is Cole, actually, which is kind of funny. But I kind of put it in that perspective. It's like, man, seeing your kid do something. I was also doing something that you were good at.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Were and are good at. Sorry, not were good at. Were and are good at.
So it's probably I've never won a feature that meant that much to me. I've won a lot of special races, I'll be honest with you, but to watch him get it done, second year in a race car, and just the talent that he has, it was pretty good. I mean, there's not much better.
And I'm gonna turn it over to Chance and let him ask the next question. But just to let the crowd or the people watching the podcast and listening know, so Billy won the Pro Modified Track Championship in 2013 at Highland Speedway. Cole wins the Pro Modified Championship 2023, and your dad Bill Knebel won the Modified Track Championship in 1978. So 3 generations of track champions. That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Billy, I was
Chance,
going
you're
to
up.
ask you. Billy, I was going to ask you, how did your dad get into racing, or was it your dad? Would it come before your dad?
So our great uncle Willie Knebel owned the Piron Garage over there, and Willie had some cars. He had a lot of good guys that drove for him. Bill Goodall and I think Charlie Class, and just to mention a few. And Dad and Willie got hooked up. My dad was driving I don't remember what they called. I think back then they were like A and B cars and stuff like that. But he was driving a 67 or a 65 Chevelle or something in what would be considered like the Bombers now.
Oh yeah.
And Willie had an A car, and Willie taught my dad how to mechanic and do everything on anything and everything. See, when he was growing up, my grandpa had a farm over here, and Willie had the shop, and so they went and they sent my dad over there because he was the oldest boy, and to help Willie work on stuff in the garage to pay off the bill that they had. So my dad learned how to mechanic from him. So they were always really close. And I don't know, they were over there one day, and he's like, well, Bill, why don't you just drive my car? And so they got together, and that's where the number 52 was born.
I was going to ask you the same question, where that number 52 came from that runs through the family.
So, I guess at that date and time, I don't know how they came up with it. It was something to do. Uncle Willie told me the story a time or two, but it was something to do with both their birthdays. And Dad used to be number 25, and they ended up being 52. So I think in 77 or 78, they branded the old 52 number.
You don't get, at least I don't. We get up here at Quincy, we have 5 or 6 family names that you hear all the time at speedways. And me, I was never a family name. My dad had nothing to do with the racetrack. We never even took me to the race whenever I was younger. So you see those families, and from the outside, it's always cool to sort of see them from the stands, but you never know the behind the scenes, the story behind it. So that's cool.
We had a father-son night at the track where we had all the fathers and sons come out, and I think we even missed one. I want to say we had 9 or 10 father-son duos racing at the same time at Highland Speedway. So yeah, man, it's cool to see, and I mean, there's probably not another third-generation track champion out there. So I think you guys got that on lockdown.
Been working on it.
for now.
Yeah.
Well, just
that's right.
it just in the comments it said the
Sure
the
does.
Knebel stable raises champions. So there you go.
That's how we like
Well,
it.
Billy,
Cole
let's
got-
talk about
Go ahead.
Billy. Let's talk about your 2023 season. All right. You didn't race probably every week in 2023, maybe kind of a pick your spots kind of deal. And I told you, here on the Highland Dirt Podcast, we're going to talk about it all, right?
Oh yeah.
So there was a little bit of controversy last season at Highland.
Yeah, there was a little drama out there, I think.
Yeah, so Billy, I'll give a brief story, then I'm going to let you give your side of it. So you were briefly suspended, then I'd say the suspension was lifted after appeal. So tell us what happened. But one thing, Billy, you're not afraid to speak the truth. I know that about you. But let's do this. Let's leave other drivers' names out of it, just to keep things civil. We're getting into another season. Let's not start off the season bad, but just kind of talk us through what happened last season.
Well, there was a lot of stuff going on before I actually had my race car put together, and it continued to go on when I had my car out there. And we had an on-track incident, and I got suspended over it. So it was I don't even remember the night it was. Was it I think it was it a 900 to win or something? I think it was a pro mod special.
Something pretty big.
I think so. I think Kyle Helmick ended up winning that night. And, but yeah,
it might have been the Josh Melton Memorial.
that could be it. I think it was Josh Melton Memorial Night. And we had a little banging and clanging out on the racetrack, and never did lead off anywhere besides the racetrack. And so the fair week was the next week, and don't hear nothing from nobody at the racetrack. And we load up and come on down, and then we get there and get unloaded and ready to go. And Sean, him and Tyler come over and said, "Hey, we're kicking you out." So we talked about it for a while, and not to beat a dead horse. And so I went up to the meeting on Tuesday and talked to him and got back in. So long story short, they had us and some other drivers meet up and clear the air, and so everything's good, and there's no looking back. We just go forward from here, and whatever happens.
Clean slate moving into 2024. And talk about I'll talk about it, the hashtag Free Billy movement on social media, and it's gonna go comments. Let's roll. Let the comments roll, baby. Let's go. Let's talk about the free Billy 52 movement.
There was a whole lot of stuff going on with that. That's for sure. I didn't even realize what was going on. I mean, there's decals on other drivers' cars, and it was
chalk in the grandstand.
Yeah, right. There was a lot of stuff shaking.
And let's not talk about the 50,000 comments that this guy had to delete off of or hide on the Facebook pages. Holy shit. It was like, I mean, I'll give it to you guys. I give credit where credit's due, man. I don't get mad about that stuff. I don't get mad about really anything on social media. If you get mad about stuff on social media, you got other problems in life, I think. But I saw it, I enjoyed it, I appreciated it for what it was. But hashtag Free Billy and hashtag Free Billy 52 was at one point somebody was putting it on every single post we had. I mean, it was like, holy crap.
Well, racing's a very passionate sport. I mean, if you don't have the passion for it, then stay at the house, because if you don't have that drive to go out there and win every time you get on the racetrack, I mean, you can do it for fun, but my Lord, it costs you a fortune to go out there and do what you love to do. So, I mean, if you're going to go, you might as well go to win, right?
You might as well stay at home if you're not.
And that's right.
You didn't come with if you didn't come to run with the big, you stay on the porch.
I do agree with that. Agree with that.
So. Heard you guys talking about the old sticky sauce and all that shit them boys are running. So when I started racing a long time ago, my dad, he pointed it out to me one night. He said, if you go out there and win that trophy and you come walking in the shop with that trophy, how are you going to be proud of it if you cheated to win it? And it always stuck with me. And I beat that in this kid's head, that this is what we got to do. And hell, when he was 9, 10, 11 years old, somebody get called illegal or something. He gets so upset about it. He's like, Dad, why do they got to cheat? I said, well, I mean, if you got to cheat to win, why even go to the races? I mean, I go there to race and then we drink beer. I can drink beer at the house and I don't have to go cheat nowhere, right? So I drag my stuff to the track. He drags his to the track, and his shit better be legal or his dad's going to be on him. And I don't think you have to worry about that with him anyway.
I think we'll be all right.
Yep. If you've got Billy Knebel, not a guy you want to get mad, I wouldn't want you in my face, Billy. So, yep. I'm sure that keeps Cole in line, for sure. So I think, Chance, you have a few more questions about Billy's kind of start in racing.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, like, as far as your dad's track championship, were you old enough to remember any of that, or how?
So I was born in 1978. So
no.
Yeah. No.
I got
I don't remember. I remember, being a couple years old and being over there at the race shop and stuff like that. But, I just remember they had a big old 3/4 ton axle that Uncle Willie had over there for a can smasher. And I remember smashing cans and crawling around in the race car. But for a long time, there was no racing around the Knebels at all. So my dad quit racing. Him and Uncle Willie, they were at the track, and years ago at Highland, the track had came through the fence and ended up hit one of their crew guys, and he didn't make it back to the house. So they brought the car home and rolled it off in the old pasture out there at Uncle Willie's ground, and hell, it sat there. I mean, it had the air breathers on it, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it just rolled it off the trailer and they were done. So I don't think I started racing until about 2003-ish, 2002, 2003, somewhere right in there.
How did you come into, like, as far as whenever you came back into, or you started racing? Was your dad involved?
So at first he did not want me to race, just because he had terrible experience there that last time they was at the track. And me and all my buddies went to the Summer Nationals one year, and they had these 4-cylinder cars come rolling out on the track, and we'd never seen anything like it. And we're like, oh man, that's crazy. And so we kind of watched them a little bit. And this was, I think it was the fair race, so the end of July there. And I think about 3 weeks later, we had a race car on the racetrack. My father-in-law had a 924 Porsche that was sitting in the weeds. It needed a fuel pump, and he gave it to us. So we knocked all the windows out of it, and put a cage in it and did a little racing.
Started out in luxury.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, you see what the parts are worth now that we smashed.
I have heard about the Porsche. I have heard stories about the Porsche being at Highland Speedway, someone racing a Porsche. I didn't know it was you, Billy. That's pretty interesting.
It originated with me, and I think we ran, I don't know, 5, 6 nights at Highland and Brownstown and a little bit at Belleville, as many races as we could hit that year. And then Tracy Vonder from Millersburg, he bought it from me, and he raced it for several years. And after that, so I rolled right out of the Porsche there after 6-8 weeks of whatever was left of that first season, and I started driving for Wonder Acres Racing Team. Ron Robertson, Ron and Julie out there, raced there for a couple of years, won a lot. My first year in that car, I think I won 5 features. First year out with Ron.
Is that a street stock or an A-mod?
No, it was
Sportsman. I got you.
Yeah, so ran that for a while, and we had a lot of fun out there. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the old Wonder Acres Racing Team lost to Roger Nolan this past week. He was the driver. He drove us to and from the track for as long as I can remember. Yeah, and if Roger didn't go, Ron was pretty grumpy because we had to drive the old motorhome into the track that night, So, but yeah, we had a lot of fun with old Roger and Ron, and some really good people.
Awesome. I got one question to kind of wrap us up. It's kind of off the blue.
Is there any?
what color will you not put on your car? Or do you have a color you will not put on your car?
Oh, it's one of them deals. So when I was racing out there for Ron, that was a big thing. We couldn't have yellow on the race car because he said that was the international trademark color of a coward. He said it can't go on. So we never put yellow on there, but I think, one of them's like green. For years I never had green on my car, and then had Leaps of Love, and then I'm like, oh man, and we slapped the Leaps of Love sticker on there. Ended up winning the feature that first night I ever put one of them stickers on my car. So I'm like, well, that ain't so bad. So anymore, nothing really bothers me. Paint her up however you want. Let's go.
Yeah. That's how I am. I've always.
Do you happen to have any?
Go ahead, Kurt.
Oh no, go ahead. You had to follow up.
I was gonna say, any other superstitions? Any certain foods on race day?
Nah, nothing like that. But
we like to eat, man.
Yeah,
can't rule nothing out.
So the hood pins, they got to go in a certain way.
Do not.
Okay.
That is a big no-no. The hood pins point straight into the air cleaner. And if you have them on backwards, bad things happen. And it's proven a fact.
Yeah, I think I've rolled about 4 of them, and it's every time the hood pins were in. Facing out. I'm not kidding, guys.
It never ends up good. It never ends up good.
One of my buddies that comes with us racing all the time, really good help. His name's Garrett. And he always likes to mess with me because the first time he ever put the hood on, he slid them hood pins in backwards. I was like, hey, whoa, no. So he'll always mess with me. He'll flip them on backwards. He'll wait for me to look at it. I'll be like, what's this? So that's a big time superstition around our place.
So in order to win in the Knebel stable, you gotta 1, put the clips on the right way, 2, have a B-Main Boys sticker slapped on somewhere on the car, right? Doesn't that apparently help out?
It helps.
It does help.
Hey, you said your dad, back when he won the track championship, do you have any hardware or anything left from that?
Oh yeah. We're actually sitting in the big shop, part of the house, and it's attached to shop that he built us before he had passed away. He built it actually for me and my brother Nick to work on our race cars and show Cole and my little brother Zachary how to mechanic on the cars and stuff like that. But there's a trophy shelf over there. Yeah, we've got some trophies over there and of that, and a couple pictures over there, that Dad turning wrenches on the car yet and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That is cool. Well, Billy, tell us about your season at Macon and back a couple years ago. I came and watched you race up there. You were on the verge of winning the track championship in 2 divisions, right? And
yeah,
there was some maybe a little bit of drama on championship night. Tell us what happened with the whole what happened at Macon that season.
So leading points, just go out there and keep your nose clean and race hard. And we ran good that year. That was 2020. We won the national championship, so Macon that was what we called our home track that year, just because Highland had closed up, and, so we're going up there and they're letting us run both classes. So did everything but win an A-Mod feature, ran second, 4 or 5 times, and, run up front.
Let them.
So we get towards the latter part of the season there, and, Macon does it different than we do at Highland. So whoever causes a caution goes to the back and you get your spot back. Well, had a guy ran over my left rear going through the corner, and it was on the last lap. Well, they went ahead and finished the feature. So it took me from running I think we were running 5th or 6th to dead last. So I ended up losing 40 points.
Lost by 2.
Yeah, so we lost the A-Mod track championship by 2 points. Yeah. So it was them guys up there that run the track, I haven't ever had any issues. Adam Mackey, he does a great job. I can't complain about him at all, but it's just one of them deals, do you really want to be mod winning your A-Mod track championship when he's winning the other one? No. I mean, that's it. It doesn't look good. So looks good for me, but not for. But them guys up there, you know, and we had our stuff figured out, like at Macon. We were nails up there. So,
And just to be clear, you were doing that with one car. You were running your B mod in the B mods and A mods.
Yeah, there were some nights, you know, you clip a tire or something and come in, and I mean, a lot of nights you only had time to dump a couple gallons of fuel back in it and get back out there. You know, some nights you had to come in, and I remember one night there were some buddies of ours. They were up there, and it's towed way in. Well, the drag link was bent in a U. What do we do? What do we do? I said, get the floor jack over there, jack it up, and then jump on the front bumper. And they bounced on the front bumper, and I started like 16th and made my way up to the top 5 in the A-Mod feature after they had jumped up and down on the front bumper to straighten the drag link back out. It was pretty great. Yeah, so we had a lot of good times up there that year, that's for sure.
So Macon's tight. You know, I swear, I'd bet you $100 bill we put at least 10 drag links on up there. Just it's just tight racing. You know, you got lap cars, and it's just super tight. It's fast. You catch lap traffic within, you know, sometimes 3-4 laps. You're there.
Yeah.
And there was one night in particular, probably one of my favorite nights that I remember. We went up there, and Zeke McKenzie, Kenny Wallace, a couple other guys were there. So there was some pretty good competition. Dad went out and he won the B-Mod feature, but we got into it. It was like 2 to go or something. Got into a lap car. Whatever happened, car was same deal. It was towed out about 3 inches. What it was, we had the tape on it. So we jacked it up on the idler arm or the pitman arm, tried to get it bent back up, ended up it was all bent up. Ended up when we pulled it back in, we measured it again. It was about 2.5 inches out. Well, he rolled out there and he's like, all right, so I'm just gonna go out and make a couple laps. You know, we're bent up, but we ain't gonna be very good. Well, he started about 11th. Well, 3 laps goes by, he's in 5th. I'm like, keep her rolling, you know. Well, there's a picture on the internet. Dad, Kenny Wallace, coming across the finish line, and Dad's bumper is about a foot off his left rear, and that's how we finished that race that night, 2nd. So that was probably one of my favorite nights.
I was there that night.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Night. Yeah, I know. I didn't know you guys as well.
Keep up with Kenny Wallace. You're doing.
Yep, I didn't know you guys as well that night, but I had my 13-year-old with me, and you know, Cole, you've seen my son Kaysen. He's a big fan of the 52 JR now. He watched you last season. But yeah, so that's
yeah, and it just goes to show everybody thinks you got to have a hog motor, but when that track slicks up, you know, a little motor's just as good, if not maybe a tick better than some of the big motors. And you know, Kenny Wallace ain't no slouch. Is all I had to say about that. You know, Kenny's a great racer, great guy. You know, good competitor. And to run that tight with him, you know, it was just I felt like it was a pretty big deal. You know, win in my books, anyways.
Yeah, it was a good time. A lot of fun racing with guys up there. Had a lot of fun racing with a lot of guys at Highland Speedway over the years, that's for sure. I mean, Highland's where I cut my teeth, and that's what I always tell Cole. I'm like, dude, if you can go to Highland and win a feature, you can go anywhere and win a feature. You guys still out there?
Yeah, pretty tough competition, definitely, especially in the Pro Mod division.
Yeah.
Yep, we're still here. So if you're seeing any internet issues, I recently upgraded to the fastest HCS internet you can have. So HCS, what's up? I don't know if it's my internet, if it's Chance's, if it's a combination, all three, but we'll just kind of plow through here. So I think Chance, you were up next.
Yeah, so Cole, I was going to ask you, I got this one out of the comments. What you feel more pressure coming in this season now, trying to defend your track championship, or before trying to obviously last year you were still trying to come in for your first win, if I'm not mistaken, right?
You know, they always said it to me, and I always ask, you know, some drivers that I look up to, Dad and everybody else, I'm like, man, surely this stuff's got to get easier when you win the first one. You know, surely it's got to come easier. You're going to lose the pressure. And I don't know, I just felt like after I won a couple if say I'm leading, it just nothing really bothers me. Somebody can roll up on me and I can see him, like, whereas before I'd, just start going crazy trying to get out in front, but now I just kind of bide my time. And I don't know, I just feel like the little bit more experience and the pressure just doesn't get to you as much. I mean, it doesn't really bother me. I'm confident in my equipment, confident in the stuff that we have going on. Win or loss, I'm going out there to have fun. I'm obviously going out there to win. I'm not a big guy on chasing championships. When I go to the racetrack, I go there to win. I don't go there to try and run second, win a championship. I go there to run first. Otherwise, what's the point? They don't remember the guy that ran second every night and won a championship. They remember the guy that won.
Sure.
And so that's just kind of how I feel about it. Just keep at it. That's all I'm doing. Got some new stuff to try out the first night this year. So kind of intrigued on how that's going to work. I like tinkering with stuff, man. Dad always gets after me. I don't leave my car alone, but I like learning. You never
you quit learning, you fall behind.
Stuff, but I like trying a lot of stuff, so we'll see how it goes.
Sometimes he likes to try too much stuff too quick.
That's all. Yeah, you get in trouble that way too.
You can, but I'm at that stage where I like to learn. You never. As a new driver, I feel like the best way to learn what something does, I can tell you what everything does on a race car. I can tell you that moving this bar is going to do this and this point in the corner. I can tell you, but there's a difference between telling you and relating it while you're in the seat. So once I feel like you learn how to relate that in the seat, that's where, especially last year, I learned how to relate some of the things I knew in the seat, and that's where we kind of took off.
Yeah. Gotcha. It kind of sucks being a race car driver sometimes, because when you're driving your pickup or you get in your wife's car and you're driving down the road and you feel that little wiggle and that clang and you're like, what's that? And she's like, what are you talking about? I don't like, you don't feel that? Well,
it's got to go.
Well, you learn to feel the car. And so then now all you do is you're driving down the road and you're aggravated because there's something wrong with the car and you know it. And
every little wiggle, every little shake.
Yeah. Yep.
And where it's at.
Man, so what do you think about the dirt they put on the racetrack, Chance?
I've only been down there once. We had a meeting. It's been about a month ago now, and it's crazy. I mean, obviously, since we're so early in the year, the moisture is it's still got some moisture in it. But for whenever we were down there, I think it was 50 degrees in the middle of February, and that thing was dry as could be. I stuck a stick probably 7 or 8 inches down into it, and not a thing. So I could not.
So you stuck a stick 8 inches into it when it was dry?
I wouldn't say a stick. It was definitely metal, but
yeah. Did it tighten up at all, or what do you think?
Oh yeah. That was definitely there's more dirt on the top side than what I think pictures do justice. I think we got some banking definitely back into the track that wasn't there before. And I know we didn't get the time to do some of the things that me and Sean and Alvin had talked about wanting to do over the winter, like possibly some winter wheat and possibly even some wood chips. You don't see that as much down here, but up in places like Boone Speedway up in Iowa, it really helps pack a track in and keep moisture in. So
yeah,
go ahead. I was going to say, once we get everything put together, I think we're going to have a pretty good service this year.
Yeah, that winter wheat and all that wheat. So I did the track at Highland for a couple years with Scott Kuhn when he first took it over, and we broadcasted wheat out there, my Uncle Dennis, and it helped it. So it does a lot of stuff, and a lot of people don't realize what it does. Talked with Dr. Dirt, before, and we went out to Reno when Scotty was doing the track, and they had all their seminars and all that stuff out there. And municipality, all the leaves in the world, that's what he preached to us. Put the leaves in there. They're free. Have them dump them on the racetrack. Disc them in. The byproduct off from the leaf will make your dirt hold more moisture and helps it stay together better. So,
it's just time consuming. It's putting it all together.
Well, and putting new dirt on, this year was kind of a wash because what do you do? I mean, you can't put something that's going to loosen it up even more in it this year. So future,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't know this was going to turn into an interrogation of the director of competition.
Oh yeah.
Well, we got.
I could have plenty of questions. How much
dirt?
Saturday?
How much dirt stuck on your stick when you pulled it out of the ground? Was it
Yeah.
like a handful? Was it 2 handfuls?
Did it look fast?
I had
What color was it?
what,
Was it like a brown or a grayish brown? I mean, come on now.
I'll tell you what. When I walk up to a new track, I watched my dad do it for years. He'll take it. He always took his pocket knife out of his pocket and stuck it in the dirt. And I'd watch it sink all the way down. And he's like, "Well, it's gonna be rough tonight, boy." And away we go. And he was right every time. And that's why I asked.
Oh yeah, it's pretty typical. I didn't get that's the first thing. Whenever I get there Saturday, we're going to be seeing where we came since February. So Sean, I was going to say, I don't know if anybody has seen the video, but I saw some video of Sean with some dust coming up on that sheep's foot on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday night. So I'm very hopeful. As long as this storm stays away tonight, I think we're supposed to get some rain, and it stays on the warmer side.
Did it rain in Highland already, Kurt?
Not yet. I did see some thunderheads, but I haven't poked my head outside for about 45 minutes.
It was thunder and lightning out here a while ago.
Yeah. The comment in the comments, and myself and the B-Main boys, we were out at the track today after work, and one thing that he said it looked like the transitions from the corners to the straightaways were a lot smoother. So it looks like they not only did they add dirt, but did a lot of reshaping of the dirt as well.
Good deal.
Making her faster.
Yep.
I like that.
Cole,
I like that bank on the high side.
Speaking of racing at Highland, Cole, what do you remember? Do you remember your first race at Highland?
Me driving or me being there?
Driving.
Yeah, I do. Matter of fact, that was another night I spun it out. Didn't make it all the way around, but I got her good and sideways, That was my first ever heat race. Well, in a B mod anyways. I'd raced with the A mods at Macon one night, but that was my first night in the race car. It was just kind of seat time deal. They weren't running B mods, so it was just something I had to do to race. But I went out and had a couple of good cars in front of me. Garrett and Rob Lee were starting the front row, and I was starting third. Well, we took off, and I kind of they put about a half straightaway on me, but I was kind of there. Nobody got around me. I'm like, yeah, we got something going, Hit a little chop and jumped the throttle a little ttle too quick, and then we got her sideways and took somebody's air cleaner off. It was a rough night. My stuff was fine. I kept going, but boy that I hit, he probably wasn't real happy with me, but
That sounds a lot like the Cole Knebel driving style that we know and love. Send it or go home, right?
Well, the way I figured it whenever I first started racing is I see a lot of these guys that get in as rookies and they're scared to get after the throttle. I figured I kind of just beat it in my own head that I'd rather back myself down than have to speed myself up. Because you can always find something to lean on, hopefully. If not, you have to figure it out.
So going back to when you were 9 or 10, do you remember your dad winning the track championship?
Vividly, I do. I remember that car was very, very good about it. Wanted to be on the bottom. It was that car. It wasn't the typical Knebel style. It didn't go very good on the top. It seemed like you get up there on the height. Dad would get on the top. It'd want to carry that left front, and just didn't go very good. But boy, you get it down on them tires in the slick, and it would just take off. We won a couple features that year. It was a fun year. I remember that car was it had a little camo in it. It was one of my favorite cars we ever had. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Diamond plate in the wrap and stuff, and just a good looking car. But yeah, that was
the old K&K. That was a race car that Steve Kaufman had built. He built it for a sportsman car, and they eliminated the sportsman class, so he started cutting on it and turned it into a modified, and we went out there and won the track championship with it that year, just out having fun. And not doing a whole lot of nothing, just rocking and rolling.
Well, Cole, you're gonna defend your championship this season. Do you have any plans for the future? I think I noticed you got a car up for sale. Do you plan on staying in the pro modified division? Maybe Dad has something to say about that.
Yeah, definitely gonna stick with it for a little while here. It's one of them things, I feel like I'm doing pretty good, but there's a couple things I just like to learn a little bit more about setups and stuff. I feel pretty strong, but it's just like, again, tying things to what you're doing in the seat, tying changes to what you're doing to the race car, to what's going on in the seat. I've changed almost everything. I know what almost everything does, but there's just a couple more things that I'd like to learn on and play with, maybe like a pull bar, just knick-knack stuff that you wouldn't really change, but maybe just try and change around and stuff. I feel like I'd like to go and maybe win a couple at some of the other tracks around, some of the Friday night stuff, and just get better in the seat, and maybe save some money and try and go AMOD in a couple of years or so, but that all kind of revolves around life too. I just started a new career a year ago and kind of saving up for that. And I just got in the operator's apprenticeship and kind of trying to get that going good and stuff. That's really important. It's a good deal. So I feel like once I get to where I'm journeymaned out and stuff, maybe we'll be able to take it a step further.
Yeah, hopefully they'll do a little something and get the cost down a little bit on these A-mods. It is just ridiculous anymore. The B-mod class, and I'll be honest with you guys, I go to a lot of different racetracks, and you hear everybody talking about the B-mods. I know that they complain about them taking too long when you go here or there, but at the end of the day, it's like, man, I wish that would have stayed green. Man, them guys up front, there was 4 or 5 guys racing for the lead or this or that, You go out there and watch the A-mods anymore, and it's, this guy that's got a $45,000 roller with a $30,000 motor, $10,000 shocks on it, and he's running up front. So, you got to work on your old junk a little bit more. You want to keep up with guys like that,
It's not like they used to be.
No.
Although I will say, and this was like two years ago up at Adams County in Illinois, a little guy by the name of Austin Becerra pulled out an IMCA Sport mod with a little 602 crate in it, and he won a UMPA mod feature over a few cars last year. But
funny story, Dad did the same thing at Macon with our UMPB mod,
and it can be done.
Yeah, it can.
Done, just the work.
It was kind of like a, I don't know, Cinderella story type deal. Just kind of underdog moment. Sometimes you get in position, you get your stuff right, and things lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And got it done.
Yeah, Austin, he's pretty good shoe. He does real good. That's for sure.
And you get him down to Highland. See, I'm not sure that's his type of wheelhouse, but you got to be able to wheel them in all of them if you call yourself a wheelman, right?
That's right.
Highland will make a driver out of you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen there's been a lot of guys over the years, and I remember, I'm 20 years old, and Billy Moyer was my favorite driver. Him and Shannon Babb, it's like, man, these guys, we just loved them. Me and all my buddies were big fans of them and stuff. And then, we go up to the races and like, oh, look, there they are. They're down there in the pits. And it was, it's just crazy. The people,
they're real people.
It doesn't matter where you go. There's always a chance that somebody will be there that, a big name driver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think, Cole?
Well, Billy, what are you planning on doing for racing as far as this summer?
We'll see. I mean, we got both our B mods yet, or pro mods, whatever you want to call them. Gonna run them for a while. So at the end of the day, the whole A mod deal had cars for sale. If one of them sold, we were gonna go ahead and put an A mod back together. you never know what's going to happen. Just one of them deals. One time if you come out here, there was 5 cars sitting here. You roll out here today, there's only 2, but you never know what's going to be here tomorrow. So could be an A mod, could be a late model. I almost bought him a late model last year, but I'm kind of glad I let that one go on by because we got all kinds of modified stuff. You know what I mean? So get out of the modifieds and you got to buy everything new.
Couldn't imagine buying a $500 rim, but
that would have been interesting.
Then imagine you put that $500 rim on and somebody comes and clips you in the left rear and ruins it. Oh, yeah. Talk about going home crying.
Well, I'll tell you what really sucks, chances. The same wheels that we run now, I used to buy them for about $65, $70 for a beadlock, and now they're, anywhere from about 175 to $225.
And that's unreal. I can remember the times they were under $150, I think. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's just nuts,
It shows you time that things can change in an instant. Hopefully not as well the other way as what they've gone, but
yeah, everything in racing's gotten more expensive. I don't know. I hope the fans understand, it's you watch these guys and there's a lot of guys nowadays that, they'll go, you might see them there 4 or 5 nights in a row and they might miss a night or 2, but hell, they can't afford to buy what they need for their car. So they got to sit out a little bit, that kind of stuff. Shit, you might see us out there. We might have bent spindles on there and everything else. But look, you got to do what you got to do.
It's true. You're putting in an effort. You're still trying.
Yeah.
I remember my first year, I probably it was a 4-cylinder. I put my car together for probably 6 or 7 months. Traveled 3 hours by myself to go to my first race and completely trashed at the first race. Got the car torn to pieces. Had to have help loading it up on the trailer. I think the motor was blown in it. It was absolutely awful. But you never would have seen me not in the shop the next night, no matter what happened. So
yeah, you blow a motor up, boy. That makes the old heart sink. That's for sure, especially anymore.
Yeah, just like anymore, you kind of gotta know, you gotta kind of choose where you place your P's and Q's. We got a press, we got a welder, so I mean, stuff gets bent up, stuff gets straightened around here. You can't really just afford to run around and buy stuff brand new. But there's certain things that if they get broke, you got to get new. But if we can do something with it, we always do. Maybe a ball joint comes out tweaked, we'll get it to press and get her straightened up, get her back on there. We always make sure our stuff's right, but we ain't above, straightening something out. So you definitely, I feel like that's the way you got to be anymore with the cost of stuff.
We make a lot of our own stuff, and that's how, if you see him with new tires on his cars, because we built a couple bumpers ourselves, or we did this, we didn't buy that,
Had a good sponsor that stopped by and helped us out,
Sponsors and that. Here in a minute, we'll talk about them guys. But, man, if you don't have everybody that's with us, they're what makes the car go around the track. We do our part, and don't get me wrong, we put a lot of money into it too. But without their help, we wouldn't be there.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you one more. Let me ask you one more question, and then we're gonna kind of wrap things up. We're getting close to that hour mark. That podcast, kind of that sweet spot, but. From a racing perspective, do either of you kind of have something you're looking forward to the most this season?
I'm intrigued right now. I just threw a new hot setup on my car, changed some springs and stuff, switched up some rates and moved some stuff around, and I'm very intrigued. I feel like it's fast in the shed, I can tell you that. So I'm intrigued for the first night. I'm gonna see how this goes. It's either gonna be fastest thing around or it's going to be terrible.
You're going to have both cars.
Yeah.
Are you going to have both cars at Highland?
We will. I don't know that we'll have them both there on Saturday night. As far as it goes, like I'm looking forward to going and trying to let Cole have a little redemption from the Fall Nationals, one of these nights. Let's see what he can do out there.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't remember. Kurt, do you remember?
Yeah, I know.
Somebody
Cole,
started like 8th or something, and the other guy started on the pole.
Somebody just did it like a champ and ran the high side. You got to put it on the berm.
Yeah, poor little feller.
Kurt, do they remember you?
You're probably looking forward to the big races this year.
Yeah, for sure.
What's that?
He's looking. He is. He's definitely looking forward to the big races.
Definitely. No, Highland did a great job last year. We had some good shows. That Challenge of Champions deal was awesome. It was 1,000, or I think it was 1,000 to win. It was a really good deal. Josh Melton Memorial was a great race. A couple other big shows in between there, and it was they did a good job. We had a good. I feel like that pulls a lot of cars. You know, every night that there was some money down for the B mods, we had in between 25 to 30 cars every time. So I feel like it's a big draw. There's always great races that go down, and it was weird because we'd have the weekly shows, you know, with 18 cars there, and we'd have a bunch of cautions. But the big show, you know, where there's 30, seemed like we go green to checkered almost every time. So maybe you guys need to have more big shows.
So we're working on it.
Well, it takes
that one. I think we're definitely going to be watching
luck.
One at Brownstown.
Yeah, I do like the thought of a 2-day show. Yeah, that's a big draw. I feel like is once you get people at the track.
Well, Chance, did you have any last questions before we wrap up?
I don't. You want to shout out your sponsors though, Cole and Billy?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we got some really good guys on our team. Black Sheep Homes, and that's Dan Cutscar. He does a great job at what he does. Fraser's 5-Star Painting, MD Industrial Pressure Washing, JM Excavating, Hillsboro Rentals, Raz Repair, CLT Trucking, BLJ, Eversville Machine and Welding, Bo's Lawn Care, and Slatton's Outdoor Service. I think they was in on the bringing the dirt to the track. They brought some loads. Dothager Electric, Express Collectibles there in Highland. That's Neil. He's always down at the track with us. He's an awesome dude. Pub 36 in Pokey. Good little tavern to hit. Rose Welding. Foresight. Jets Tree Service and Epic Ink. Awesome place to get some tattoos done. They've been with us since the start. Beard Motorsports and the Drop Zone Hunting. Slots and Slices. Chris Barrett with Patriots Kettle Corn. Hit him up for all your Victory Fuel needs. They're pretty good. Had to try them out today. Got the Tarsic family on there. Straight Edge Barber Lounge, Tom Goodall, the Yellow Dog Saloon in Borden. Hit them guys up. Great people.
Yeah, well, you definitely couldn't do it without all the sponsors, right?
No, and hey, there's a lot of guys behind the scene that come and help us and stuff too, which every race team has that, you know. You guys know that. There's a lot of people that show up at the racetrack and try and lend a hand here and there, you know, that don't get any recognition. So anytime anybody does go to the racetrack, you know, the guys that are out there running around, there's probably about 50 or 60 of them in the grandstands that lended a hand here or there too. So, you know, just keep them guys in mind too.
Yeah, that's for sure. Definitely got to have help. Sorry, Kurt.
Nope. And you guys have a Facebook page too. So follow the 52 Knebel Racing Team. And that's KNEB as in boy, EL. Funny little story. 2 or 3 years ago, Ruben Morales was butchering your name during the Summer Nationals race, saying Knebel. And so he was leaving the K silent. And so him and I kind of struck up a friendship, been networking. And so I texted him. I said, hey, it's Knebel. And then he changed the pronunciation and got it right after that. But he was very appreciative.
You know, funny story. I went up to Farmer City one night last year, and I've heard our name butchered. You know, I've heard Dad being called Evil Knievel. You know, I've heard all kinds of stuff. Knievel, Knabel, you know, everything. I've heard it all. But there was this little gal running the sign-ins there at Farmer City, and I said, hey, you know, Cole Knebel signing in for the B-Mods. And I've been there before quite a few times. I look at my race pass, and it's spelled Cole Cannibal. I'm like, whoa, come on now. That was terrible. That's been the worst. Been the worst I've seen it butchered. But
as a fellow person with a hard to pronounce and spell last name, you never know how they're gonna butcher it up. But well, guys, really appreciate you guys joining us. Did you guys have fun tonight?
we did.
Yeah, had a
We
good
did.
time.
Awesome.
Definitely.
So yeah, appreciate you guys joining us,
Involved,
and
sure.
we'll see you at the track soon. I'd also like to thank my co-host today on the Highland Dirt Podcast. It's Director of Competition Chance Bailey. Chance,
Thanks for having me, Kurt.
Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just my wife for letting me get some time away from the two kids for doing this and let me get about all my racing needs done, and let me have Saturdays go down to Highland.
Yeah, your wife is an angel. You just had a kid back in January, February, and so
January.
So yeah. Chance is now father of two young children. So yeah, thank you to his wife. Big thank you to his wife for letting him come down. So want to remind everybody, the Highland Dirt Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Jansen Auto Group. Hundreds of vehicles are available right now at gojansen.com. So with Jansen Ford Breeze, Jansen Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Carmi, and Jansen Chevrolet in Germantown, they have just the vehicle you're looking for. You can search their entire inventory at gojansen.com. That's gojansen.com. Jansen Auto Group is proud to support local dirt track racing and world famous Highland Speedway. Well, folks, do you own a business? Maybe you want to be featured on the Highland Dirt Podcast. Maybe you want to sign at Highland Speedway. Get a hold of us. Last year in 2023, we reached more than 5 million people through social media. We can help you get exposure, and it's only growing from there. So send us an email at highlanddirtpodcast@gmail.com. So make sure you follow the Highland Speedway and Highland Dirt Podcast on all the socials, on Facebook, YouTube, X, and TikTok. And don't forget, opening night 2024 at world famous Highland Speedway is just 3 days away, Saturday, March 16th. I'm pretty fired up. You can also download the podcast where you find all your favorite podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And I'm Kurt Vonder Haar, your host of the Highland Dirt Podcast. And remember, folks, whether it's Peevely, Brownstown, Tri-City, Belclaire, Highland, or your home track, get out there and support your local dirt track. Would you? See you guys next week.
Thanks, Kurt.